Constitution. So far, what are the gains, because we've talked about the gains that we have, and we can all acknowledge the gains that we have, and you reflected on them in your opening remarks. What are these things that we are yet to realize, we the people? And how can we get there? What do we need to do to get there, to realize the aspirations and the great dreams of our Constitution?
Thank you very much, Eric. And because I don't intend to make any further remarks, including what was listed as closing remarks, I will just finalize on my statement now so that we can bring this occasion to a close. First, let me say the following as I come to answer what you have asked me. That I'm very proud that we are able to sit down in the manner in which we have done and ask ourselves very candidly, very pointed accountability questions from what you have asked me about the matter of cabinet to members of parliament on the letters to Madam Chief Justice here. It just goes a long way in, putting in context the great country that we have, that we can stomach any inquiry into what we are doing as citizens and as leaders. The fact that, this occasion, the Katiba Day, when I thought about it, and I thought about this in the context of what you have said, I participated in Bomas. I participated in Naivasha. There was a Kilifi draft. I was the first deputy president under this constitution. And today I have the privilege to be the second president under this constitution. There is a journey that we have traveled as a country. And as head of state of this country today, I am very proud that this Katiba Day is not just another occasion. It's not just another celebration. It is a place where we call ourselves and ask ourselves difficult questions. Have we done what the Constitution expected of us? And why I am very proud about this moment is because I have managed to bring the country to a place where we can candidly ask ourselves questions. Last week, I was here in KICC on one of our primary subjects, that is universal health coverage. And I spent 5 hours the first day, 5 hours the second day, answering citizens, having an engagement with citizens. As president, that does not happen in ordinary circumstances. No other president has done what I have done. I have put myself at a place where I can be questioned and taken questions and answered. So I think this is a good place for us as a country, number one. Number two, we have made very good progress. As somebody who worked under the old constitution and the new constitution, I can proudly say, as others have said here, Mutava Mushimi, all the other good people, including Apikadir and all the other people, that we have made progress. Of course, we could have done better, but that does not discount the progress that we have made. In different spaces, devolution, for example, which is probably the biggest gain that this constitution brought. There are many arguments as to whether devolution has worked or has it not worked. From where I sit, I think we were right to have devolution. devolution has served this nation. Could it have been better? Yes. Are there challenges? Yes. But that does not discount what devolution has done to our country. Specifically, for example, the biggest subject, health. I see many people trying to argue that maybe health should be reverted to national government. I am completely opposed. I think health is in the right place in county governments. Why do I say that? If you look at delivery of health, there are counties where we had only one doctor. Example, Wajir here. Today, there are 70. There are many more health workers. Supervision has been devolved from the national government to the county. County workforce, health professionals are held to account. In the past, there used to be doctors who never reported to their stations for 10 years and nobody knew. That is no longer possible. The county governments have appropriated that space properly. And so, have they done many other things better than was the case in the old system? Let me also say, having served as the first chairperson of the Intergovernmental Budget and IBEC, that we started off with a lot of territorial fight between the national government and the county government. And rightfully so, because there was still a hangover by the national government to try and control counties. And then there was also, a bit of that, I must admit. But progressively, we have come to appreciate that there are roles assigned to counties, there are responsibilities and mandate assigned to the national government. And that way, we have found a way of living together. In fact, I have had a wonderful 4 years working with county governments. Maybe because I had the benefit of what happened in the last 10 years. And we have signed, as Abdullahi has said, many intergovernmental participation agreements. We have done, for example, the registration of farmers, which was a very big thing. Now we have a register of all farmers. It was a joint project between national government and county governments. We have community health promoters. Today, we pay community health promoters jointly. The community health promoters are doing a fantastic job. Today, we have signed an intergovernmental partnership agreement on matters health. I would have chosen, for example, to say health is a devolved function and I should have nothing to do with it. But we sat down with counties and we said there is a role where national government can support counties in delivery of a mandate that is assigned to counties, and that is purely constitutional. The Constitution, provides for that kind of mechanism. And we use that mechanism to improve health outcomes. Today, we have more citizens registered on social health. Today, we have more citizens treated. Today, we have better delivery of equipment. We signed a partnership agreement with counties. Today, they get equipment that they don't have to pay for because of the agreement we have signed, and they are using those equipments to deliver health and get paid for by SHA. So I can say confidently that counties are better placed when there is a better relationship between the counties and the national government. That is not to say there are no challenges. Yes, there are challenges here and there, but continuously we keep resolving those challenges. Let me give you one challenge, for example. On matters to do with housing, there was a challenge on whether housing is completely devolved or there is a role for national government. And we managed to resolve it, by making sure that we established under the housing fund a place where the housing fund has representation from the national government and the county government, and it made it easier for us to make steps to go forward. Let me leave that there. And having said that, I can say with confidence that our decision as a people, as a nation, to have counties in place was the right decision. But I hear what Mutava Mushemi is saying. That is it too expensive? Can something be done about it? That is a conversation Kenyans can have, on how do we make them much more effective. That is, or the size of parliament for that matter. That is a conversation we can have as a nation. Let me come to what was said by my elder sister here, the Madam Chief Justice. I think if there is one very progressive area that we can confidently say as a nation that we did very well under this constitution, is our judiciary. I think the judiciary today has maybe more latitude than they need, if I may say that. I think we overgave ourselves the space around judiciary, because they can literally do anything, which is possibly a good thing, so that they can limit the power of government. They can also interpret legislation in this or the other way. But what I can say about the judiciary is that even as we celebrate the place of any citizen being able to go to court and challenge everything, there is always the argument that I want to make, and I have brought it up with the Chief Justice. For example, we go to the people and we tell the people housing is a mandate, a command under Article 43 for government to provide adequate, dignified housing. You go to the public with a manifesto, you tell the people how that right is going to be realized, and the people give you the mandate. 7-8 million people, Kenyans, vote, and they say, proceed. And then one person, possibly the name that comes into mind is the one goes to court and stops the whole process, Now, the question you ask yourself is, what is the place of this one person in the context of the 8 million who voted for this right? And secondly, this right is in the Constitution. So that's the question, again, that maybe the judiciary, on their own wisdom, may want to think about balancing the right of every citizen to challenge whatever is being done as against the right of others who believe that that right should be achieved. And also the right of government to live up to the constitutional demand for them, for citizens, to have decent housing. So this is again a place where we possibly may want to have a conversation around. I don't think it amounts to changing the Constitution. I think it is by way of practice and all of us looking at what are the possibilities. Because, and I will come to this later, in terms of my perspective as to what areas haven't we, I will come to answer that question. But having said that, I think I have had a wonderful relationship with the judiciary under my administration. They have cornered me in many places. They have brought down some of the things I wanted to do. But in some cases, they have made very useful proposals. You know, they have told us, for example, go and change the law so that it's not just those who are salaried who pay for housing, let all others pay. Very, very progressive, you know. They have also told us in other areas, maybe change the law so that you do this. So again, I cannot wholesome say they have done something that has stopped us. They've, in very many cases, enriched our, you know, proposal on how to get things done. But to the words of the Chief Justice here, and she has said, and rightfully so, that there is a budget issue, which is an issue, again, we must have a conversation as citizens. Should we pay taxes? Should we not? Should we borrow more money to do what we have to do? Or how do we borrow responsibly? So this is, again, another conversation, because the bottom line of all this thing about budget is taxes. Yes. I mean, we must have a candid conversation. Today, there is a big argument that Kenyans are overtaxed. We need to have a conversation. Is it based on empirical evidence? To my reflection, we are at 14, maybe 15%. Our taxes are 15% of GDP. The highest country, France, is 45% of GDP. They pay 45% of GDP. We pay 15%. South Africa pays 25% of GDP. So is the argument that we are overtaxing ourselves right, or is it not? And is it possible for us to provide for every service that we need without thinking of where we are going to raise the revenue for us to do that? This is, again, another conversation that speaks to what Mutaba Mushimi was saying as to affordability of government. But to my defense, I can say here that we have increased the budget for the judiciary from 18 billion when I came into office to 30 billion today. We have almost doubled the budget. That's a correct position. Under my administration, I think, together with the Judicial Service Commission, we have hired the highest number of judges any administration has hired. In my 4 short years, I think, Madam Chief Justice, I think you, myself, and your JSC has hired close to 100 judges. So we have made a contribution. Maybe we have not reached where we should. I sympathize that the building at the judiciary is not in very good shape. But I don't know whether you really want to renovate, because you have to be ready for the consequences of renovation. The audit out there is very vicious. You know, you don't know how much it have gone through on lectures on whether it was the right thing to renovate the State House. I've tried to make argument that this place was leaking. This is the address of the people of Kenya, any citizen, any, but I don't know whether I've succeeded. So as you think about renovating and rebuilding judiciary, I will warn you that there will be consequences for that. But I guess you have the mettle for it. And I think with the new facility that we have negotiated with yourselves and the World Bank, we now have a facility of about 20 billion shillings to be able to rethink about how we can empower the judiciary to do more. I think we have done a couple of other things, including looking at the retirement benefits of judicial officers, their transport, and many other things, which I don't want to say. But I think we have tried to make a contribution in that direction. Let me say finally that from where I sit, maybe I should say from where I stand. The whole space around accountability is a space that I think we need more work. To your question now, Latif, the whole space around accountability is a place we need to do more work. Why do I say so? We have had arguments on who needs to prosecute. We have had issues raised by citizens on why the DPP enters, withdraws cases. We've had issues, what the chair of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption has said here, on prosecutorial powers to be given to the ESCC, the delay in the processes. There are too many processes that ultimately that becomes a challenge. I think those are very valid. Even from where I sit, these are very valid proposals that we must internalize and do something about. But having said that, there is more that we can also do by way of prevention. And I remember making this statement before the last election. I said, in my administration, there will be no money to steal. And I meant it. And how have we stopped or prevented loss of public resources? Number one is what was said here by somebody, digitization. Just by digitizing government services and payment, we have significantly reduced transactions in cash that end up being areas of corruption. Today, I can confidently say we have eliminated paying for government services using cash. And this is to enhance accountability, traceability, and who pays what. We had 1,000 plus government pay bills, all in shady places. Today we have one. And the Treasury can see all government payments and where it is going. Number two, we have implemented what we call Treasury Single Account. Treasury Single Account enables government to see how much money we have in which places and how much idle money there is in government. We used to go to borrow using the instruments that we have, and most of the time we borrowed money which we had. And sometimes we went to the market to borrow our own money. And it was not very intelligent. I don't want to say it was foolish. So we have eliminated that, and John Buddy is here, and we have made huge savings just by making sure that we have all our money with our visibility. Number three, and by the way, this single treasury account was a conversation that was there for almost 15 years, but there was no courage to implement it because there were people benefiting from these dark places. Number three, we have implemented what we call electronic EGP, electronic government, electronic procurement. We've made the whole procurement of government services transparent. John Buddy was telling me, an item, say for example a pen, procured by government on 17th floor was different price procured by another ministry on 10th floor. That is no longer possible because we have standardized procurement. We know how much it costs, and every government entity pays the same for the same service or for the same commodities or other procurement products. Again, we are possibly saving up to 10% of all our procurement just by making e-procurement possible. I can tell you, we've gone through hell trying to implement this. The amount of requests we've been asked to excuse, or our issues are very urgent, or these issues are very sensitive, or these issues. But I want to thank John Buddy, he has said no. And we are forcing everybody to go through the mill. We've also done one thing, which Abdikadir will tell you how difficult it is to do. The issue of the government-owned enterprises law. This man, Abdikadir, came with it, I think 15 years ago, 13 years ago. But it was not possible to implement it. Because what did it say? It set the bar for the people who are appointed into boards of government agencies. It actually said that we need to advertise for those positions. And it was very difficult politically, to do it. Because you go into an election with many friends, partners, people who have supported you, people who have gone to the trenches with you, you win an election, and then they are there. You have to do something about them. And politically, you can't just wish them away, because they will make demands and say, my friend, you wouldn't be there if it was not for us. Legitimately so. But what have you done now? We went to Parliament, and I want to say this about Parliament. I know there are many accusations that Parliament has gone through, that they are a rubber stamp for the executive. I don't know, they are not holding government to account. If there was a difficult bill to pass, and I must give credit to the 13th Parliament, they passed it. It is the government-owned enterprises law. Literally saying that those people passing the bill will not qualify to be appointed into parastatals when they are not sitting in Parliament. You know how, all these politics are very slippery place. You are in today, you can be out tomorrow. So, but I want to credit the 13th Parliament. They passed this law. I signed it into law. And today, many of my friends who I had appointed to boards in Kengen, in Kenya Airport Authority, in Kenya, I don't know where, Kenya Pipeline, and many other places, they have had to exit. Because now the law says those who participated in the last election cannot be board members. I have lost a few friends, but it comes with what it is. And why are we doing this? We want to, as much as possible, professionalize the running of government agencies and to depoliticize those boards. And again, I must say that has worked in a very significant way. And then finally, we have, and I'm talking to accountability, we have also, number 5, we passed the conflict of interest bill into law. Again, very many members of parliament, members of Senate are very unhappy about this bill, because it literally says members of their families cannot participate in procurement or supply of goods and services to government. Again, it was to establish a distance between those who wield authority or power, whether they are sitting in parliament or they are sitting in the executive. I don't know whether we extended to the judiciary, I don't think we did, cannot participate because they have the propensity to influence those contracts this way or the other. Again, I can confidently tell the country we passed that law. And we are progressively, pushing corruption to the limits, even as we do the other things. You remember it was said here earlier, what about the ethics part? What other, apart from prosecution and all this, are there other things being done to deal with corruption? This is part of it. And we've worked with the criminal justice system to work on this. And then allow me to say two final things, which, speaking to what the other panelists have said, I agree entirely with the assessment of Mutava Mushimi on the subject of us having and what we are doing about poor people in our country. There is a message that Mutava Mushimi is saying, that those of us in positions of responsibility, myself and these great people and all of you seated here, which we cannot lose focus on. What are we doing about equity? How are we working to make sure that every citizen has meaning in Kenya? It's okay, for us to defend our salaries, for us to demonstrate, ask for more salaries, but what about the people who have no salary? What about the people who have no jobs? What about the poor people? This is something that we must pay attention to. There are some people, and I'm afraid to say this, that believe that there are citizens who are born to be poor. I think that is tragic. Because I hear arguments when I was pushing for the housing levy. And many people were telling me, how is it our business to make sure the people living in slums who have no decent dwelling places, how is it our business to assist them to get decent housing? It's a very, reasonable question, but looking at it from the other side, it's very callous. I mean, it shows how insensitive we are, that we have people who live in slums, that it doesn't concern you that there is a citizen who uses a flying toilet. It doesn't concern, you're not bothered. I mean, you really have to have a heart of stone not to think about fellow citizens who have to pay to use a toilet. I mean, it is something that must concern us. And that is, I think, what my good brother there was saying. Or a citizen who decides to stay at home, they are sick, but they prefer to stay at home and die because they have no means of getting medical treatment. I think that is something that should concern us. And as a result, it takes me to the place where we've not done very well. We've done very well with what Abdikadir said, political rights. We are a robustly democratic country. We vote whoever we want. We can picket, we can demonstrate, we can do whatever, literally, whatever we want. That we have done very well, and we must credit ourselves for it. But there is the other side of it. What have we done to make sure that every child will go to school? Everybody has medical attention. We have decent housing. We have eliminated hunger. And we have done all the other constitutional commands. That is the place that we haven't done very well. And that is where we must focus going into the future. And that is why I am inviting all of us to have a national conversation, on the future of Kenya, a development charter for ourselves, so that we can enjoy our democratic rights, but also make sure that every citizen lives a dignified life. I think these are the two, sides of what we must achieve. And I say this with a lot of humility, that it's upon us, to do whatever it is that we can to make sure that we deliver on these two commitments. Let me say this. Our right to choose, our democratic right to choose, must be exercised in choosing what is best for everybody, or what is best for us. We should be able to make the best choices for Kenya. And again, let me paraphrase what Abdikadir said. If you choose a thief and expect that they will not steal from you, you are not being intelligent. If you choose somebody who is incompetent and expect them to deliver on anything, then you are not being serious. If you choose a person who has no vision, who has no plan, who has no agenda, and expect them to take your country anywhere, then you are not being serious. I think these are the choices that are on the table for us. And finally, I have spoken for too long. Why I like this meeting, and it is good that we are talking about our constitution in a forum like this, that intellectuals are present, is that Mutaba Mushimi can say some of the things politicians cannot say. And Abdikadir can say some of the things politicians cannot say. And my good bishop can also say some of the things that are difficult for politicians to say. But they must be said. So this is a good forum for us to engage without defending ourselves that much. And finally, I think we need to do more. We have gaps in matters to do with our gender equity. I think we can do something about the two-thirds gender rule. And I think I can do something about making the, not just the two-thirds gender rule, but also the constitutionality of our cabinet. I think that is a space that even me, I have some homework to do on matters to do with gender and all that. If I was given an opportunity, I would try to mitigate my situation by saying, at least I have the first ever Attorney General who is a woman, whom I have appointed. And I can also try and mitigate my case by saying, by appointment, maybe the cabinet does not meet the two-thirds gender rule, but by operation, it does. Because I not only have the AG, but also the Secretary to Cabinet sitting in my cabinet. But anyway, that's a conversation for another day. So I want to say to all of us, this is a very good conversation, Madam Chief Justice, I think. And Abdullahi, my good friend from the Council of Governors and the Houses of Parliament, I want to say to all of us, thank you very much. I think this is time we have spent very well. And thank you, Eric, for provoking us. Asante sana.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a standing ovation to our panel, please. And a round of applause as I welcome Michael Gitonga to come and take over to the next space. I'd like us to do something. Every 27th of August going forward, always remember it's a day of victory for we, the people. And I'd like us to say this together. 16 years ago, we the people gave ourselves this constitution. And our head of state went ahead to say, our responsibility today is to fulfill its promise and build a democratic, prosperous, and transformed republic. So repeat after me. Our responsibility today is to fulfill its promise and build a democratic, prosperous, and transformed republic. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. I'll request that we remain standing, and as His Excellency takes back his seat and the panelists, kindly let's take back our seats. And I'll request just one thing as we do that, because we'd like to clear the stage. We have one more thing we'd like to do, the conferment of Katiba Awards, which is going to be a very short part of it. I want us to just keep standing, and let's play a song to Shangilie Kenya as we empty the stage. Let's take our seats. And Your Excellency, we only have one more item on our program, and that is the conferment of the Katiba Awards. So with your permission, allow me to invite the Head of Public Service to lead us through a brief state of investiture ceremony for conferment of Katiba Awards. Welcome, sir. Tumkaribishe kwa makofi tafadhali.
Thank you. Thank you. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this part of the Katiba Day commemoration is convened pursuant to Article 132(4)(c) of the Constitution and the Kenya Heroes Act 2014 to recognize three eminent Kenyans whose service has left an enduring mark upon our nation's constitutional journey. On this 16th anniversary of the promulgation of the Constitution, the Republic pays tribute to those who devoted their intellect, courage, and conviction to its making and have remained steadfast custodians of its promise. In recognition of that distinguished service, their names shall be entered into the roll of national heroes under the category of statesmanship, and each accorded the title Shujaa wa Katiba. This recognition carries forward a tradition inaugurated at the promulgation of the Constitution in 2010, when a special Constitution promulgation commemorative award was conferred for distinguished leadership in steering the Constitution through Parliament and towards promulgation. Your Excellency, today's honorees join the Honorable Abdikadir Mohammed, the first and until today old recipient of that special constitutional recognition. Together, their service is firmly inscribed in the constitutional history of our republic, and a grateful nation now accords them their rightful place among its heroes. May it please Your Excellency to take your position in the arena for 1 minute, Your Excellency. And in the name and on behalf of the people of Kenya, formally recognize the following Mashujaa wa Katiba. The first is Professor Yash Pal Gai.
With uncommon wisdom and unwavering dedication, Professor Yashpal Gai led Kenya's constitutional dawn. As chair of the Constitution of Kenya Review Commission, he forged a people-driven charter that enshrined in the powerful Bill of Rights, devolution, and rule of law. Through the Katiba Institute, which he founded with Dr. Jill Cottrell Gai, he has tirelessly defended these democratic pillars, often without fee. A scholar of global renown, his counsel has shaped constitution across more than 20 nations. The award will be received on his behalf by the President of the Law Society of Kenya. So let's put our hands together as they come to receive it on behalf of the statesman, mentor, and guardian of the Kenya Katiba, Professor Yashpal Gai, who embodied the highest ideals of public service, deserving of being entered into the role of our national honors as a Shujaa wa Katiba.